Alarming poll reveals rising Shoah denial among American youth. Disturbing findings from a recent YouGov and Economist poll on December 7th reveal a concerning trend on rising Shoah denial among
All
American
right, so
youth.
tell people again why we're not saying the actual word.
I am saying Shoah because YouTube does not like the big H word. If you want to know what I'm referring to, look on the screen. Okay. Um, this poll on the December 7th revealed a concerning trend of rising Shoah denial among American youth. The survey of 1,500 adults in the United States explored opinions on various topics, including discrimination against Jews, hate crimes, antisemitism, with a focus on age demographics. Shockingly, 20% of respondents aged 18 to 29 believe that the Shoah is a myth, contrasting starkly with 7% of the general population. So, almost 3 times more likely than the general population to have this belief. Additionally, this younger age group showed the higher agreements with anti-Semitic statements, such as believing Jews have too much power in America and expressing skepticism about Israel's existence. The survey indicates a need for increased education and awareness to combat the troubling rise of Shoah denial and anti-Semitic state sentiments among American youth. So this falls into a reoccurring theme on this show, which is Gen Z scares me, and I think we're one generation away from fascism. So also Armin, in the show notes, I have something else that I want you to bring forward and show in a second.
Okay.
So oh my goodness. This is a huge problem. And I don't even know what to attribute this to, because what I'm saying is I don't know who to blame for this. I can't take the blame for this because this is embarrassingly my own generation. So you can't hold me responsible. The people who have come before us in America have woefully betrayed our own country with how we're treating the youth. Zaid is saying, I identify as a boomer. My generation scares me. Yeah, but you're not an American, so you can try to, distance yourself from this at least. I don't get that luxury. Being a boomer is now cool. This is, I mean, I think this reflects a general trend towards the systems of what I refer to as like critical social justice, which other people just refer to as wokeism, that, has its philosophical and ideological roots in postmodernism or applied postmodernism. And I think this is really a result of the last 15 years, roughly, because I remember these kinds of ideas, these modes of thinking really coming into effect when I was in my early teenage years. And I was surrounded by it. It heavily influenced my education. It heavily influenced me in return. And then a lot of the activism and insanity that I engaged in, especially in my early 20s. And I'm like literally thinking that we have like destroyed our civilization within the span of 15 years. And I'm laughing just because you have to cope. And what a lot of people need to understand about this system of thinking is that it literally rejects objective truth as something that exists. It rejects empiricism and rationalism as a valid or superior method of knowing. And when these things are constantly imbued or kind of a flavor in the backdrop of other ideologies that are being pushed on kids, where I understand more and more every day how they're being taught to be more like activists than actual thinkers. It's not surprising at all to me that this would result in Shoah denialism. Um, and for example, I want to let me read one section of the uh okay, of the findings. So a slightly okay, let me see. Asked if they agreed with a slew of statements widely considered anti-Semitic. Okay, YouTube, these are statements that we are reading for the purposes of explaining a poll. These are not beliefs that we have. Including, quote, Jews have too much power in America, quote, people should boycott Israeli goods and products, quote, Israel exploits Shoah victimhood for its own purposes, quote, Israel has too much control over global affairs, and quote, the interests of Israelis are at odds with the interests of the rest of the world. The youngest age bracket answered in the affirmative, more so to those statements than any other group. So again, this is not secluded to one thing. This is a symptomatic of a generalized attitude towards Jewish people. And I think that part of what makes me believe that this is heavily influenced by critical social justice, wokeism, postmodernism, whatever you want to call it, is some other findings that came out like literally a day or two ago. And Armin, that's what I included in the show notes. Could you bring that forward, please?
Yeah, okay, I'm bringing it, but also does it mention that the Democrats are more because I'm looking at the data and it seems like the Democrats are more Holocaust denier than the other people.
Where are you finding that?
So the poll shows that the young people is 20%, but the survey revealed that 10% of Democrats believe the Holocaust is a myth, which is double the percentage of Republicans.
That's interesting. Well, I'm going to say something that is going to make people uncomfortable, but it is my understanding of the statistics. So I would. Okay, I'm just going to be completely honest. That is likely a result of the fact that if you look based on political leaning and broken down by race or ethnic group, white liberals are the least likely to be anti-Semitic in the country. Black and Latino Americans are 6 times more likely to be anti-Semitic. They're the most anti-Semitic groups in the country. And this is a voting bloc that tends to vote Democrat. So, although some of that is changing, especially with Latinos. So that is my guess at the nature of that question.
But this is surprising because I thought like the Republicans have also a whole bunch of far right people. I mean, I knew the leftists have the fair amount of anti-Semitism, Holocaust denier, and all of that, but I didn't know it was this much more than Republicans. That is insane.
Yeah, because people don't really want to have honest conversations about how people that are most likely to be anti-Semitic in the United States are not white, because we have this twisted belief of like mutually exclusive minorities. And we are completely unable to have honest conversations in this country about anti-Semitism that comes from so-called POC. I wish it wasn't that simplistic, but it is. My understanding of
This,
all the statistics that I have seen, that's my understanding. I could be wrong.
this is very dangerous for our future because this is the trend. We're going in this direction. The the left, more and more. I mean, these are younger people also on average are more leftists, and you're saying that leftist parties are becoming more anti-Semitic, and younger people are becoming more anti-Semitic. And I don't know if this anti-Semitic or just ignorance, because there's a lot of videos on TikTok that is denying the Holocaust. There's a lot of videos on TikTok that is claiming that, I don't know, Jewish people control the world and the Holocaust never happened and crap like that. It's like it's unbelievable how much that is spreading. So maybe, I don't know if it's, yeah. Anyways, I mean, it could be a mix of both. But these are the
I
data
mean,
that
is
you wanted us
there
to
a
show.
difference between anti-Semitism and ignorance? Is there a difference between bigotry and ignorance?
I don't know. Yeah, you're right. Actually, that's a good point. I don't know where to draw the line. But what are
So
these data?
this is a different poll that came out. So I just want to be clear. This is a separate poll than the article we were just discussing, because this came out like a day ago. And so this came from Harvard and Harris. And let's just look through this. There's an ideology the white people are oppressors and non-white people and people of certain groups have been oppressed and as a result should be favored today at universities and for employment. Do you support or oppose this ideology? And in general, the vast majority opposed it. However, if you look at the 18 to 24%, excuse me, age range,
Oh,
so this is Gen Z, this is solidly Gen Z, 79% support it. It's the only age demographic that supports this. Okay, let's go to the next one. Do you think this ideology is helpful or hurtful to our society? Again, every age demographic says hurtful, except for Gen Z, once again, coming in with the majority support. Um, Next slide. Do you think that Jews as a class are oppressors and should be treated as oppressors, or is this a false ideology? Again, everyone says, yeah, that's false. Also,
wait, what?
again, boomers coming in, killing it. You know what? This kind of made me like boomers a lot more. um, at 91% saying that's false. Meanwhile, Gen Z, once again, majority supporting that statement.
Wait a second. Six.
Most insane. Okay, shall we continue?
Wait, like, hold on. No, we shall not. We shall not. You're telling me 67% of Gen Z considers Jews to be as a class to be oppressors?
Who does that remind you of?
67%.
Hmm.
67%. Okay, I give up. Let's shut it down. What are you telling me? Okay.
What the F is wrong with
What
Gen Z? Their heads have been filled with poison for the past 15 years.
this is are you sure about this? I know things are bad, but 67%
Well,
are
hold on to your
they're
tear clothes,
anti-Semites.
Junam. It's about to get worse.
Oh, you're
Next
telling me
slide.
you're telling me the vast majority of our future generation is anti-Semites. Okay. Okay. Well, wow.
Okay, here's where things get a little bit different. Do you think that identity politics based on race has come to dominate at our elite universities, or do they operate primarily on the basis of merit and accomplishments without regard to race? And here is where everyone across demographics, majority say identity politics based on race does dominate our elite universities. Okay, interesting.
But
Now move to the next slide, please.
the thing is that maybe the difference is that Gen Z says like yes, and that's good.
Next slide, please.
Oh, okay. That I think it's gonna answer my question. There we go.
Oh, okay. Okay, it didn't answer that question, but basically, I'm 90% sure that it does ask that question, and they're like, "Oh yeah, no, that's a good thing though."
Okay.
So
Okay.
basically, what you just said was right. Um,
Okay. Okay.
okay, if a student calls for genocide of Jews, should that student be told that they are free to call for genocide, or should such students face actions for violating university rules? Again, everyone says they should face consequences for violating the rules. Gen Z says, "Oh no, that's fine."
Oh, okay. Calling for genocide. Isn't this the same? Isn't this aren't these the same people that want community standards to kick off anybody from anywhere as soon as they see something mildly offensive? Like they
this
do.
this gets to
Yeah.
the heart of the issue of the congressional statements of the elite universities before Congress. Is that on a technicality, some of their statements that they made about the calls for genocide not being in violation of their university rules, there actually is technicalities where what they said is truthful. The issue is the hypocrisy. So the issue is
Right.
not necessarily whether or not that actually violates community norms within those elite universities, right? The issue is that they have booted off people, stripped them, publicly shamed them, and ruined their reputation for much less. The issue being that the
Yeah.
slight was against someone they deserved worthy, and they do not deem Jews worthy of protection. That's the
Yeah. So
implication of this. So
so
so this is getting at the hypocrisy.
mm. So if you misgender a student, you face consequences. But if you call for genocide, they're like, yeah, no, that's free. That you should allow that genocide of Jewish
I
people.
mean,
That's
it's
what.
all about the context, Armin. Come on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. So in certain contexts, asking for genocide of Jews should not meet consequences from in a university. By the way, guys, this is not a free speech thing, okay? Because free speech doesn't mean freedom from consequences unless those consequences are legal action, like from the government. Right? So free speech doesn't mean that I get to go to my work and I get to swear at my boss and then he doesn't get to fire me. Free speech means that you don't go to jail, you don't get a fine, you don't get tortured or executed for the things that you say. That's what it means. It doesn't mean that university has to maintain your employment whatever you say. If you call for genocide and the university fires you, that is not a violation of your free speech.
Yeah.
So I don't
Meanwhile,
understand.
Gene, who is a member of our community, who's a non-binary Jew, is saying this is going to do so much damage to trans people who just want to live their life. Yeah.
Yeah. All
Okay.
right.
Next
Next
slide,
slide.
please. Okay. In this conflict, do you support more Israel or more Hamas? Again. Okay.
Not Palestine.
Again, this is no,
Hamas.
they asked Hamas. Let's be clear.
Hamas.
And
Oh my God.
in this question, Gen Z barely broke even at 50%. Hamas, not Palestine.
Hamas. They support 50% of Gen Z supports not guys again, not Palestine. 50% of Gen Z in America supports Hamas. What are you telling me? No. No. Wow.
This is what happens when you
Okay.
teach kids from an
We've
early
lost this.
age that there are people who are oppressed and that they must be given everything and nothing must be asked of them.
Unbelievable. They
And
are
anything
this is
done in
basically like
response is justified.
this is an equivalent of supporting ISIS or Al Qaeda, but worse actually, worse than ISIS and Al Qaeda.
I think Hamas is worse than ISIS. Hamas is worse than Yazis.
Oh yeah, for sure, by
Any day of
far,
the
by
week.
a huge margin.
Yeah.
Yeah, by a huge margin.
They are worse than the greatest evil
If
we have ever known as a human race.
this is not an exaggeration to say if you're a Jew, if you had to choose between being taken by ISIS or Hamas, you have to pick ISIS. You have much higher chances of survival if ISIS takes you instead of Hamas. Again, not that it's going to be a fun experience. You might be possibly going to die there as well, but your chances of survival are much higher. Next slide.
Next slide. Do you think that the killing of 1,200 Israeli civilians in the kidnapping of another 250 civilians can be justified by the grievances of Palestinians, or is it not justified? Again, everyone else said, hell no, that's not justified, except for the majority of Gen Z.
Unbelievable. Wow. Wow, they're actually supporting. They're saying it's justified to kill civilians. 60%.
It's more than just killing. It's the sexual torment of civilians.
Yeah, but the question has only the killing and the kidnapping. That's why I want to try to be charitable as much as I can. So 60% of American Gen Z's young people believe that killing Israeli civilians is justified. Okay, yeah, this is a lost generation. Do you think they will grow up? They will mature once they grow up a bit, or is this like, I hope that this is just like being a dumb phase or something? No,
I don't know. I mean, I
I
grew
mean
out of
Gen
it, but I
Z,
also me growing out of it was at the cost of everyone in my life, right?
right? Okay,
And what I
next.
learned is that
Oh yeah,
most people are not willing to pay that price. That I'm actually kind of unique because most people find social discomfort so unbearable to
yeah.
publicly disagree, even when they know something is objectively true.
So we have a whole bunch of super chats. Thank you, everybody. What?
Mujahid said Susanna grew based. That's freaking right, Jay. Which actually reminds me, Jay sent me something recently, and I think this might be the only Hamas that we can support. Let me find this.
I know what you're gonna do. Okay. This is a dad. This is a dad joke, isn't it?
No, it's way better than a dad joke. Oh my god.
Well, I
Wait,
was gonna
okay.
respond to Mohsen because I
Yeah,
was gonna
you
defend my
respond to the super
position.
chats while I find this.
Okay. No, this is a comment. I want to defend my position. Mohsen is saying, really, Hamas is worse than Yahtzees? Yes, because, well, not in numbers, in total numbers, the Yahtzees are obviously way worse. Okay, but not because that's only because they were more capable. The reason why I know Hamas is worse, and given the capabilities that the Yahtzees had, they would do much worse than the Yahtzees did, is because when they were killing Jewish people, they understood that what they were doing was so vile and evil that they did everything in their power to hide it. And they understood that the people who support the regime, even the Germans who supported the regime, would not even be able to tolerate that level of evil. They even understood that the soldiers, the agents that were doing the things that they were doing, the reason why they went from shooting and like blowing up Jews to gassing was because a lot of the soldiers couldn't handle killing this many people, so they made the gas chambers because psychologically they understood that they had to create a wall between the killing of the Jews and the soldiers who were carrying those the executions, because
They
they
would go
didn't want to be
home and
exposed to
get
it.
blindingly drunk.
Yes, and the people, the families of the agents, the people who went to Poland, nobody knew what was happening at these camps. They kept it completely secret because they know what they were doing was pure evil, right? However, when it comes to Hamas and their supporters, they recorded it. They recorded it and they bragged about it and they showed it. So not only they were proud of it, and their supporters were celebrating it. So the supporters of the Nazi regime, this was too much for them. they went out of their way to hide this, because what they knew what they were doing was evil. But Hamas, not only they didn't try to hide it, they recorded it and they spread it. They also understood that their supporters are not going to be turned off by this. That's the difference.
Exactly. I mean, you have footage of soldiers calling home and telling their moms, "I'm killing Jews, I'm killing Jews," and they're celebrating in response.
Yes.
People
Yeah.
bringing back, freaking decimated bodies back into Gaza, and we have the footage of the entire cities coming out into the streets and celebrating. Like, guys, come on.
Right.
I would just like to
So
say that here's the deal. Okay, we have some people with some really abhorrent beliefs, and the rest of us need to fight tooth and nail as this generation gets older to make sure that they cut this shit out and don't influence our body politic. So all that is to say that when I'm a parent and there's some bullshit going on in my school board, I'm clearing jihad on you fools. I'm going to war with this bullshit. You're not going to teach my kid this shit. Okay.
All right, so do you want to do the super chats?
I'm going to be one of those psychos at the school board that the FBI. Okay.
No, don't say that. Don't even joke about that.
I'm kidding. GJ gave us a super chat saying about our memberships. How about consolidating the $50 a month membership and the $100 a month membership into one $666 a month? That would be free up a slot for an intermediate $10 a month membership tier. I mean, we can talk about our tier structure.
I'm gonna
behind the scenes.
Yeah, I have to see. I could only do that if we don't have any members that are $50 or $100, because if I do that, we will lose them.
Oh, that's true.
I don't want to lose. Yeah, I don't want to lose.
Kenny gave us a super chat with no comment. Thank you, Kenny. And also thank you for helping me out this morning. Gasian American gave us a super chat. Thank you. Saying people should have the right to boycott if they desire. Of course. Saying my For You page is not like this. What the fuck? They took "Give Me Liberty" or "Give Me Death" too seriously. Yeah. Or twisted it. Very much twisted it.
Twisted it would be more accurate. Yeah.
Because people fail to understand, because they just don't know better, and maybe don't know enough Iranians, that Islamists can never be liberators. You want to see the kind of liberty that Islamists bring? Go look at Iran. Go look at how Iranians are living. And Gasian American also said, would you rather have Hamas or an Imperial Japanese soldier?
Of course, Japanese soldier. Easy.
I don't know, man. Those are some sick bastards.
They don't exist anymore.
I mean, do you know what they did in Nanking?
Yeah, and in the Philippines. But again, they weren't genocide. They weren't. Okay, they did some really, really brutal things. The thing is that they didn't have the eventual intention of wiping out an entire population, right? So again, if you let Hamas have everything that it could do, all the means necessary to do what it does, that will wipe out the population. I don't think the Imperial Japanese soldiers will go and wipe out 9 million people in the country. They would not do that. They would do some horrific things, but only Hamas has the final intention to wipe out an entire population of Jewish people. All not just in Israel, actually, all around the world. So look up how many Jews are there in the world. Yeah.
Oh man, but the Imperial Japanese Army is twisted on a different level, and we really don't talk about that in America, like, at all. It's kind of messed up.
Because it's gone. It's over. Islamism is still with us.
When I went through Shoah education in school, like, it was just focusing on the Shoah. Like, we learned nothing about what the other Axis powers did.
Right. But what happened during the? I think it's important to learn about that as well. But what happened to Jewish people it still lives with us today. The Imperial Japan, whatever dumb ideology, what?
I mean, what happened in
Say,
Nanking is burned into the Chinese psyche.
I understand that, but there are no people that are trying to continue that right now. Okay, that's the main difference. What happened in what Germany did, what the Nazis did to the Jews, people are trying to continue that. That there's nobody that is trying to continue what Imperial Japan did. It's over. So that's what the that's yeah.
Um,
Angel.
so Angel gave us a $20 super chat. Thank you, Angel. Saying taking gambling to a whole new level, even though it's 50-50 in hindsight. Oh, talking about the results of that poll. Yeah.
Right. Thank you for the
Engaged in,
super chat.
yeah, thank you. Engaged in American, a Chinese American growing up with what I was just talking about, saying, I was taught that the little boy and fat man was worth it.
Wait, what? I don't get it.
This is referring to the 2 atomic bombs that were
Oh,
dropped on
oh
Japan.
yeah. The little, the little and the fat man were worth it. Okay, so I don't know if I should say this. It might have stopped more people from dying.
That's a different conversation than coming from the Chinese perspective in the
I've
psychology
seen.
reaction to what they went through.
Oh yeah. If
That's
it
a
was
very
worth
different
it, because
perspective.
it. Yeah, but there are academics. Again, I'm not saying this, that I've analyzed this. If you're saying that because you are happy that Japanese people died, then well, f that and whoever says that. But there are people who are argue that because they think because of the little boy and the fat man, because of the 2 atomic bombs, less Japanese people ended up dying. So it's possible that it saved people. Again, don't come at me. This is the analysis that exists by some historians. Okay.
Yeah, no, but again, that's a different perspective than Chinese people that are still growing up to this day with a lot of animus towards the Japanese because of what happened.
Yes.
I really don't think we have an understanding of what
Maybe it's
that is
wrong. I
like
don't know.
psychologically. But on a that was a rough segment, and I want to bring something forward that might bring a smile to your
Make us
face.
happy.
And you know what? It might bring us together. And you know what is going to surprisingly bring us together? This might be surprising to you guys. There actually is a Hamas that we can support.
Okay.
And the Hamas that we can support is hot Arab male anal sex.
Oh my god. Okay, guys, we've been completely demonetized. Amazing. What are you... All right, great. Why you do this to us? Hey.
Now this is something we can get behind.
Oh my god.
And if anyone has a problem with this, I blame my friend Mujahid. Go check out the Habibi Power Hour podcast on Rumble if you want to see him being a complete degenerate. Yeah. So yeah, Dia saying get behind. Yeah. Yeah, Mujahid, if anyone has a problem with it, bring your complaints to him.
Guys, I would like to ask everybody to like the stream right now, because I think Susie just cost us complete demonetization and also being shown less in the algorithm. So we're not going to be recommended as much anymore. So please, I mean, it was worth it. People are laughing, people are happy, but please like the stream so that we could fight the algorithm now working against us. Do you know who makes the most amazing, gorgeous, and other adjectives that I can't use here on YouTube, blasphemous art ever? We do. And for some reason, we are giving it away for free. Download them now using the link in the description before we change our mind.